Nestled deep in the heart of Bavaria, Germany, lies a farmhouse forever etched in the annals of mystery and horror. This is the story of the Hinterkaifeck murders, an unsolved crime that has haunted minds for over a century. In 1922, the Gruber family lived a quiet life on their remote farmstead, Hinterkaifeck. Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, their daughter Victoria, and her two children, Cecilia and Joseph, lived in seclusion. They were joined by their maid, Maria Baumgartner. But this peace was shattered by an unimaginable horror. It began with strange occurrences. Andreas noticed footprints in the snow leading to the house, but none leading away. Unexplained sounds echoed through the walls. A set of keys went missing, and the family dog was found injured. The Grubers could feel an ominous presence. On the night of March 31, 1922, the unseen terror struck. One by one, the family members were lured to the barn and brutally murdered with a mattock. The killer then moved inside the house, where Maria Baumgartner met the same grisly fate. Days passed without any word from the Grubers. Concerned neighbors visited the farm on April 4th. What they found was a scene of unimaginable horror. The bodies were discovered stacked in the barn, covered with hay. Inside the house, Maria's body lay in her bed, lifeless. The investigation revealed disturbing details. The killer had stayed in the house after the murders, eating meals and tending to the livestock. Despite exhaustive efforts, no suspect was ever caught. Theories ranged from vengeful neighbors to unknown drifters, but the truth remained elusive. Speculations abounded. Some believed Victoria's husband, presumed dead in World War I, had returned for revenge. Others pointed to local men with grudges against Andreas. Yet no solid evidence could ever confirm these theories. Today, a memorial stands where the farmhouse once did, a somber reminder of the brutal murders. The Hinterkaifeck case remains one of Germany's most chilling unsolved mysteries, captivating true crime enthusiasts and historians alike. Was it a crime of passion, a calculated murder, or something even darker? The Hinterkaifeck murders continue to haunt, leaving behind a legacy of fear and unanswered questions. Downtown Los Angeles, a bustling hub of activity and dreams. But within this city of angels lies a dark and tragic mystery. This is the story of Elisa Lam, a young woman whose disappearance and death shocked the world. In January 2013, 21-year-old Elisa Lam, a Canadian student, embarked on a solo trip to California. Her journey took her to the Cecil Hotel, a place infamous for its dark history. Elisa checked in on January 26th, unaware that this hotel would become the setting for her final days. Elisa was an active social media user, regularly updating her blog and Tumblr with her travel experiences. But on January 31st, she vanished. The last known sighting of Elisa was caught on the hotel's surveillance camera. The footage, which quickly went viral, showed Elisa in an elevator behaving erratically. She appeared to be hiding, pressing multiple buttons, and talking to someone unseen. Elisa's disappearance prompted a massive search by the LAPD. Flyers were distributed, and her family flew in from Canada, desperate for answers. The police combed through the hotel, but Elisa remained missing. 2 weeks later, hotel guests began complaining about low water pressure and a strange taste in the water. Maintenance workers were sent to investigate the hotel's water tanks. What they discovered was horrifying. On February 19th, Elisa Lam's body was found in one of the water tanks on the hotel's roof. She was floating lifelessly, her clothes and belongings beside her. The news sent shockwaves through the community and raised more questions than answers. The coroner's report ruled Elisa's death as accidental drowning, with her bipolar disorder being a significant factor. No signs of foul play were found, and toxicology tests revealed no recreational drugs or alcohol in her system. Yet, the details surrounding her death seemed far from clear-cut. Speculations and theories about Elisa's death ran rampant. Some suggested she was being pursued, others believed she was experiencing a severe episode of her mental illness. The eerie elevator footage fueled paranormal theories, with some claiming supernatural forces were at play. The Cecil Hotel itself has a notorious past, having been linked to numerous deaths, suicides, and even serial killers. Richard Ramirez, the infamous Night Stalker, once called the hotel home. Such a dark history added to the macabre fascination with Elisa's case. Today, the Cecil Hotel has rebranded itself, but the story of Elisa Lam lingers. Her death remains a haunting reminder of the intersection between mental health struggles and tragic outcomes. Memorials and tributes to Elisa can be found online, where her story continues to touch the hearts of many. Elisa Lam's disappearance and death may never be fully understood. Was it a tragic accident, a result of her mental health issues, or something more sinister? The unanswered questions keep her memory alive and her story shrouded in mystery. The story begins in the small, serene community of Keddie, nestled in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California. It was the spring of 1981, a time when the air was filled with the promise of new beginnings. However, for the Sharp family, it would be a time marked by unimaginable horror. Sue Sharp, a 36-year-old mother, had recently moved to Keddie from Connecticut with her 5 children, seeking a fresh start. They settled into Cabin 28, a modest wooden structure in the Keddie resort, hoping for a peaceful life. On the night of April 11, 1981, Sue's oldest son, John, who was 15, had a friend, Dana Wingate, over. They spent the evening hanging out and eventually returned to Cabin 28. Inside the cabin, Sue was with her daughter, Tina, aged 12, and her younger sons, Rick and Greg, aged 10 and 5 respectively. Sheila, Sue's 14-year-old daughter, was spending the night at a neighbor's house. The following morning, Sheila returned home, unaware of the nightmare that awaited her. As she stepped into the cabin, the sight that met her eyes was one of sheer horror. The living room was a scene of brutal carnage. Sue, John, and Dana lay lifeless, bound and bludgeoned with a claw hammer and stabbed multiple times. The room bore the signs of a violent struggle. Frightened and confused, Sheila ran back to the neighbor's house to call for help. The authorities arrived swiftly, but the scene that greeted them was one that would haunt them forever. Blood splatters, overturned furniture, and signs of a fierce struggle filled the room. However, there was no sign of Tina, Sue's 12-year-old daughter. She had vanished without a trace. The investigation into the Keddie murders was intense and thorough. Plumas County Sheriff Doug Thomas, along with his team, worked tirelessly to piece together the puzzle. They discovered that the killers had used 2 different types of knives and a hammer, indicating the involvement of more than one assailant. Interviews with neighbors and potential witnesses revealed that strange sounds had been heard in the early hours of the morning, muffled screams and loud thuds. but no one had thought much of it at the time. In a close-knit community like Keddie, such noises were rare and easily dismissed. Despite extensive efforts, the investigation hit numerous dead ends. The lack of concrete evidence and clear motives made it difficult to pinpoint the perpetrators. The case eventually went cold, leaving the community in a state of perpetual fear and unease. 3 years later, in 1984, a gruesome discovery was made. A fragment of a human skull was found in a wooded area near Camp 18, approximately 50 miles from Keddie. Dental records confirmed that the remains belonged to Tina Sharp. Her disappearance had ended in tragedy, but the identity of her killers remained a mystery. In the years that followed, various theories and speculations emerged. Some suggested that the murders were the result of a drug deal gone wrong, while others believed it was a targeted attack on Sue. However, none of these theories could be substantiated with solid evidence. The case was reopened in 2013 by Plumas County Special Investigator Mike Gamberg. New leads and advancements in forensic technology brought a glimmer of hope. Gamberg discovered a letter written by Marty Smart, a local resident and primary suspect, to his wife confessing to the murders. Additionally, audio recordings of anonymous tips received during the original investigation were re-examined, revealing previously overlooked details. Despite these breakthroughs, the Keddie murders remain officially unsolved. The truth of what happened in Cabin 28 on that fateful night continues to elude us, shrouded in a veil of mystery and sorrow.